What's going on, folks? So back on the camper AC conversion project here, and so this is the AC unit here, and I got this on Alibaba Express. I'll try and put the link in. My first time purchasing on Alibaba, it worked fine. The unit itself was about $500, and it cost me about $250 in shipping. So, you know, that's pretty respectable. So one of the complications with this is designed for like a van where you were going to put this like underneath the dinette, and you could cut holes and go through the floor to vent everything out the bottom. So I'm going to set this up. Let me see if I can do this real quick. Okay. So here are the two vents that we have to worry about. So ordinarily this would be blowing out the bottom of somebody's van. Well, this is actually the intake side, and this is the vent outside. So what I had to do is I needed to figure out, there were these little vents, little vent covers like this on each one. Another one up here. And so what I did is I figured out how much area is here, and then I figured out the diameter of a circle that would work, provide me the same amount of surface area, because what we don't want to do is actually create any restrictions that the unit is not designed to have. So we need to replicate this opening and this opening. And when it's in the actual camper, I'm gonna have to put this down again. Let me do that real quick. Okay, so when it's in the camper, the dinette seat's going to be directly above this. This is going to be over here with the control panel. We're going to move this control panel, which shouldn't be too bad. And then here's our actual vent ports and stuff. So I got plans for this. But the side of the camper is going to be somewhere approximately like right here. So what we need to do is actually add a hole here and a hole here, and then block the underplates off. So I spent the last like hour at Home Depot, and I got these fittings here from the plumbing section, and the plan is to just mark out a circle, cut the hole. I may have to cut this lip off because it might be a little bit too much. I don't know yet. We'll figure that part out. But we're going to have a hole here and then a second one here. That's why I have two of these flanges. So basically, kind of look like this, just a little higher up. And then the other vent comes out somewhere basically about right here at the bottom. So what we need to do is do another hole here. And I have this elbow, the street elbow like this. Same thing, we're going to cut holes in this. And then we're going to plumb our tubing out to here to our vent. So I think that's going to get me pretty close to where I need to get. This is all uncharted territory for me. I don't have anybody else's experience to draw on or anything like that. So I think it's the right way to go. In worst case, if I have to reseal this off or something like that, it's not that bad. It's just some foam. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this stuff up. I'm going to make my marks and everything. And then I think I'm just going to use a razor blade to cut it. I've kind of debated maybe like a hole saw or different things like that to make sure it's like, you know, really circular. But first of all, this is kind of an odd diameter. So finding a hole saw that was going to fit that, not going to work. Second, I think the shredded teeth would just kind of just shred and just make a mess out of it. So anyways, that's what I'm going to do. All right, so the first thing I got to do is I'm going to just try to figure out where I want to actually put these things. And there's already kind of a line here, and this line is the casing halves, or kind of like a third or 2/3. But so I'm going to probably just go right in the middle of that line, which will put me pretty much centered right there. So I'm going to take this here. This will be probably the approximate location. I may actually want to put these closer together because I may have to come out here and then vent up. I'm gonna have to go measure how much opening I have on the camper because that's going to determine what I can do. So let's go take a look at the camper and see what we got. All right, so we're here by the camper. So this is actually what we're going to be venting out of. And so what I need to do is figure out how big this opening is. Um, I'm sure it's probably like a 1/2 inch inside, but let's measure this real quick. So we got 19 1/4 by 9 1/4. All right, so that's our opening, 19 1/4 by 9 1/4. All right, so we're inside the camper now, so I need to show you guys. So that opening that we opened or measured is that opening there. And on the inside, which is probably even a more critical measurement, we're basically 16 1/2 inches by roughly, I don't know, about 7 inches is what it shows. So the thing is, the AC unit's going to have to sit here. I'm going to be opening this up in order to get access to it to make it fit. And the question is this is going to have to move because the AC unit is 22 inches long. So if we just put 22 inches here, so the AC unit by itself is going to come basically right to here if we plumbed it flush against the wall, which we're not going to do exactly. But that also means that what we have to do is figure out, we can come back at least 3 inches without even moving this, which would be kind of ideal. Now, the complication with that is that the vent that goes on the side of the unit that comes out and is going to go out there like that, we're going to have to do some sort of a turn to get it to line up to that. Because as we come out, it's going to either go right here. So the unit is also 18 inches wide. So if I measure this, a little hard to do with 2 hands here. So I have about 23 inches to work with. So if I butted this against the wall, which I can't do exactly, I can maybe come within 2 inches. So probably where it's going to sit is basically at the 18-inch mark there. And then that gives me 4 inches for my tubing to come out. So no matter what, I'm going to have to do some sort of a jog. Let's make sure I'm showing this. I got it. My tube's going to come out this way where my tape is, and then I'm going to have to do an elbow or something like that. So it's going to be pretty tricky, but basically 7 inches by the 16 inches is what I need to target to make sure that I'm not having to open anything else up more than is already here. So let's head back into the shop and see where that lines up our tubing and everything. All right, so back in the garage here. Now, what all that means is that these 3 pipes, assuming if I'm going to do an angle like this, which I probably will, I need to make sure that these things are pretty close to each other, is what it comes down to. So if I measure this here, basically I got to come out to within, this 16 inches. So I look like I'm actually kind of okay. I'm looking at this. I have quite a bit of play to work with. So I think the thing to do is just to get committed. That's the worst part of this. Obviously, if I screw it up, I could glue this back together. It's not the end of the world, but I got to cut something. I got to get committed here so that I can actually figure out what I'm doing over there and everything. So I'm going to just set up, mark some holes and everything where I think it should be about, and then I'm going to just cut it open and we'll deal with it from that point. Okay. I think this actually works pretty good. It's a little bit tight in this compartment. Now, again, I'm going to be sealing this section off here. So this is actually going to go up here like that. And this actually is sealing really good. I think my cut pretty dang close to where I need it to be. So I'm not going to complain too much about that. And I'm going to have to move this strap a little bit, but that's fine. There we go. So I think this will work. Now what I got to do is do these 2 holes here. All right, so I got my piece in here and I had to go back to Home Depot and pick up a few more fittings here. So these are 3-inch diameter, which will be close enough for this. I am taking account on this plate, there's these little grates. So I calculated the surface area of just the opening and figured out that the 3-inch is about spot on for what I need. So again, the wall of the camper is going to be here. This is tilted on its side, but this I'm going to set up like this. So I think we got a way to vent out. That should work out, I think, just fine. Now the complication I had is initially was planning on using 2 of these just because I had 2 openings. I was going to do one here and then one here, but of course this isn't going to work because it's going to hit. So what I'm going to have to do is find a 6-inch piece of PVC, I think, and then we're going to do just a 6-inch opening here, which is probably going to be easier anyways to deal with. So my next step that I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go to the camper and I'm going to start taking out the old furnace so that I can start mocking this up and making sure that before I actually cut this in place, these holes, I'm going to make sure I go out the opening. I don't want to make a bunch of holes here and then be like, oh, I'm off by an inch or something like that. So let's head over to the camper and let's start getting that old furnace out so we can get this system in.